Elon Musk has a habit of making impossible promises, but back in 2020, he made one that felt different. He promised a revolutionary battery that would change everything, not just for Tesla, but for the entire world's shift to sustainable energy. He called it the 4680. It was supposed to be cheaper, last longer, and pack way more power than anything before it. This was the key to the mythical $25,000 Tesla, the key to electrifying, well, everything. But that single promise nearly broke the company. Behind the flashy presentations and bold tweets, a manufacturing nightmare was quietly unfolding. For years, Tesla poured billions into a project that seemed doomed. Scrap rates were so high they were almost unbelievable. Machines were constantly breaking down, and the core technology, the very heart of the revolution, refused to work at scale. Rumors swirled that Tesla would have to kill the project, writing it off as a multi-billion-dollar failure that would set them back years. Elon Musk himself admitted they were deep in production hell. But then, after years of struggle, the story started to change. What was revealed wasn't a story of failure, but one of the most difficult and ultimately successful engineering comebacks in recent history. The nightmare was ending, and the revolution was finally ready to begin. To really get the depth of this crisis, we have to rewind to September 2020, Tesla's Battery Day. This wasn't just another car launch, it was a declaration of war on the cost of electric vehicles. On stage, Elon Musk and then SVP Drew Beglino laid out a 5-point plan to slash battery costs by a staggering 56%. And the centerpiece of it all was a totally new battery cell, the 4680. So, what's with the name? 4680 is just its size, 46 millimeters across and 80 millimeters tall. It's a simple can, but much larger than the 2170 cells in the Model 3 and Y. Its size was its superpower. A bigger cell means you need fewer of them in a car. Fewer cells mean less casing, less wiring, fewer connections, and less complexity. That alone was a huge piece of the cost savings puzzle. Then there was the tabless design. In a normal battery, you have these tiny tabs that act as connection points for electricity to flow in and out. These tabs are like tiny bottlenecks. They create resistance, and resistance creates heat, which is the enemy of fast charging and performance. Tesla's radical idea was to get rid of the tabs entirely. They created a shingled spiral design where the whole edge of the battery's internal foils served as the connection. Imagine going from a tiny garden hose to a massive fire hydrant. This slashed internal resistance, meaning less heat, faster charging, and better power. It was truly an elegant piece of engineering. But the most ambitious, most revolutionary, and ultimately most painful part of the plan was a manufacturing process called dry electrode coating. For decades, batteries have been made using a wet slurry. You mix active materials like graphite and nickel with a binder and a toxic, expensive solvent to create a thick paint. You coat this paint onto metal foils and then run them through massive football field-long drying ovens. The whole process is slow, expensive, and takes up a colossal amount of factory space. Tesla's plan, using tech from its 2019 acquisition of Maxwell Technologies, was to ditch the solvent and ovens completely. The idea was to take the dry powders, mix them with a binder, and press them directly onto the foil with immense pressure. If it worked, it would be a revolution. It would slash the factory footprint, cut energy use, and deliver a massive cost reduction. This was the secret sauce for a 56% cost cut and a 16% range boost. On that stage in 2020, Musk made it sound like it was just around the corner, targeting 100 gigawatt-hours of production by 2022. The world was captivated. But the engineers knew the truth. Prototypes are easy, production is hard. The vision from Battery Day was brilliant, but turning it into a physical reality was a nightmare. The anode, made of softer graphite, was relatively cooperative. Tesla's engineers got the dry anode process working fairly early on, but the cathode was the killer. The cathode material, a mix of hard, abrasive metals like nickel, behaved less like a fine powder and more like stubborn, brittle gravel. The problem was the dry coating process itself. Imagine trying to roll out a piece of dough that's incredibly dry. It just cracks and crumbles. This was happening to Tesla's cathodes on an industrial scale. The intense pressure and speed needed for mass production caused the brittle cathode to crack, delaminate, or just turn to dust, making the electrode film useless. Worse, the abrasive powder would physically damage the multi-million-dollar rolling machines, leading to crippling downtime. On a 2022 earnings call, Musk admitted this was a huge, unexpected hurdle. They were seeing scrap rates as high as 30 to 50% on new production lines. For every 2 batteries they tried to make, 1 was garbage. The process also created inconsistencies in thickness, which is a critical failure. If the foils don't align perfectly when wound into the battery's jelly roll, it can lead to short circuits and, in the worst-case scenario, fires. The challenge was so immense that it forced Tesla into a major compromise. The first-generation 4680 cells, the ones that would go into the first Cybertrucks, weren't the full revolution promised on Battery Day. They were a hybrid. They used the successful dry-coated anode, but for the cathode, Tesla had to retreat to the old, expensive wet slurry method. This meant they were still reliant on those giant ovens and solvent recovery systems, the very things the dry process was supposed to eliminate. It was a huge setback. This hybrid approach kneecapped the cost and efficiency goals of the entire program. Elon Musk even acknowledged that mastering the dry cathode was essential to the whole endeavor. The dream was slipping away. Even competitors were noticing, with the chairman of battery giant CATL reportedly critiquing the program's low yields directly to Musk. The pressure was mounting. The struggle to scale the 4680 wasn't happening in a vacuum. It was causing a cascade of problems across Tesla's entire roadmap. The most obvious victim was the Cybertruck. That radical stainless steel pickup was designed from the ground up around a structural 4680 pack. The battery wasn't just a power source, it was part of the truck's frame. Without a high-volume supply of cheap 4680s, the Cybertruck's production ramp was dead in the water. Despite having the capacity to build 250,000 trucks a year, production was severely bottlenecked by the battery shortage. While Tesla was making progress, hitting a milestone of 50 million total cells produced by mid-2024, this was a drop in the bucket compared to what they needed. Each Cybertruck needs 1,360 of these cells, meaning 50 million cells is only enough for about 36,000 trucks, and that's assuming a 100% yield, which they were nowhere near. The cell shortage kept the Cybertruck a low-volume niche product. The internal struggles also spilled out into public view. In early 2023, South Korean supplier L&F signed a massive $2.9 billion deal to supply Tesla with high-nickel cathode materials for the 4680s. But as Tesla's production woes continued, the deal collapsed. In a stunning regulatory filing, L&F revealed the contract's value had been slashed by over 99%. The news sent shockwaves through the industry, signaling that Tesla's demand for cathode materials had catastrophically fallen and the 4680 program was in serious trouble. This failure forced Tesla to rely more heavily on external suppliers like CATL, not just for traditional cells, but for other products too. The 4680 was supposed to power everything, from the Cybertruck to Megapack grid storage batteries. But with the 4680 failing its price targets, Tesla had to use LFP cells from suppliers for these critical energy products, giving up the profits and efficiencies of vertical integration. Meanwhile, competitors like BMW and Rivian saw an opportunity, developing their own vehicles with large format cells from established suppliers, threatening to close the technological gap Tesla had built. For years, the news from the 4680 program was mostly grim, but inside Giga Texas, engineers were waging a quiet war against physics. And then, the tide began to turn. At a company meeting in early 2025, a Tesla director shared a huge milestone. By the end of 2024, Tesla's in-house 4680 cell had officially become cheaper to produce per kilowatt-hour than buying from their external suppliers. After years in production hell, they had finally beaten the battery giants at their own game. So how did they do it? It wasn't one single aha moment, but a series of hard-won engineering breakthroughs. While no single patent tells the whole story, the core innovations revolved around solving the dry cathode problem. A key was likely developing a new composite binder, the glue holding the active powders together. The original process inherited from Maxwell used a binder called PTFE, which forms a web of microscopic hairs when stretched, physically trapping the powders. But pure PTFE was brittle and chemically unstable, leading to cracks and reduced battery capacity. The solution appears to be a composite binder that's both strong and flexible, transforming the manufacturing process. Instead of needing to be passed through high-pressure rollers multiple times, which was incredibly slow, a new formula could likely form a durable film much faster, solving the throughput nightmare. Another breakthrough was tackling the dusting problem. This likely involved perfecting how the powder and binder were mixed, creating a more robust microstructure that could withstand the stress of being wound tightly into the battery can without cracking. Finally, this success was built on Tesla's obsession with vertical integration. While solving the cathode chemistry, they were also making their own battery cans and developing custom electrolyte formulas. This total control allowed them to iterate and solve problems incredibly fast. As one director put it, prototypes are easy, production is hard. It was this combination of material science, process innovation, and relentless in-house manufacturing that finally turned the tide. The dream of the fully dry-coated cathode was no longer impossible. Okay, so Tesla figured out how to make its fancy battery. It's a great engineering story, but what does it actually mean for the company and for you? In a word, everything. The first and most immediate impact is on the Cybertruck. The truck's very existence depended on the 4680's success. Now that the cell is Tesla's cheapest, the Cybertruck is finally a viable product. The cost reductions allow Tesla to build the truck at a reasonable margin, turning a halo product into a real revenue stream. But this is just the start. The current Gen 1 hybrid cells are only the first step. The real prize is the Gen 2 fully dry cathode. Musk has admitted that scaling this is still a lot harder than thought, but he believes it will have some cost advantage. If Tesla can master this final step at scale, it would fundamentally change the factory itself. Getting rid of the drying ovens and solvent recovery could cut the factory footprint and slash the energy needed to make each battery. That's a monumental leap in manufacturing efficiency. This cost reduction is the key that could unlock Tesla's entire future. There are rumors of different 4680 variants being developed, each optimized for a specific vehicle. One could be a cheaper cell designed specifically for a high-volume, affordable car. This is the battery that could power the long-awaited $25,000 Tesla. For years, a truly affordable EV has been blocked by high battery costs. With a sub-$70 per kilowatt-hour pack cost now seeming possible, a $25,000 car with good range finally starts to make sense. Other variants could be designed for higher capacity, targeting the Tesla Semi. The electric truck has been waiting for a sufficient supply of cost-effective, energy-dense cells. With production now ramping up, the electrification of heavy-duty trucking could be about to accelerate. The 4680 journey has been a marathon filled with setbacks that would have crushed most companies. It went from a revolutionary promise to a near catastrophe, only to emerge as perhaps Tesla's biggest competitive advantage: the ability to make advanced batteries at a lower cost than anyone else is a profound moat that could drive Tesla's next phase of growth. The story of the 4680 is pure Tesla. Set an impossibly ambitious goal, stumble into a world of manufacturing pain, and then innovate your way out through sheer force of will. For a while, it looked like Elon Musk's biggest promise might become his biggest failure. Many in the industry thought the dry cathode problem was unsolvable at scale. But with breakthroughs in material science and manufacturing, Tesla has turned the corner. They took a process that required toxic solvents and football field-sized ovens and are now on the verge of replacing it with something faster, cheaper, and cleaner. They've gone from battling 50% scrap rates to producing their lowest-cost battery in-house. This isn't just a win for Tesla, it's a win for the whole EV movement. The battery cost has always been the single biggest barrier to mass adoption. By relentlessly driving that cost down, Tesla is paving a path for the rest of the industry. The ripple effects will enable not just cheaper cars, but also more robust energy grids, and maybe even industries we haven't imagined yet. The road ahead is still tough. Scaling the full dry cathode process will be another monumental task, but the fundamental problems appear to be solved. The path is clear. The question is no longer if the 4680 will fulfill its promise, but how fast. What do you think? Is this the final piece of the puzzle for a $25,000 Tesla? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive, consider subscribing for more stories on the engineering that's shaping our future. Thanks for watching.